Welcome, my dear students. Welcome back, my dear students. Welcome, everybody. Today is another lecture, another topic in our business law. We will talk about the globalization and its effect, the effect of the globalization on the trade, the world trade, and the policies in the shadow of the business law, how it looks like in the shadow of the business law. Okay, we'll go now to our topic right away, and we'll see how it works regarding the business law and the international cooperations, and we'll know what the meaning of international cooperations. So now the law and the international business, it's very clear nowadays that the world is moving into globalization, and the word globalization means the world became the world, the whole world became like a small village. And that means that we have to work all together, no borderlines. That's what is the aim of the objective of each country. There won't be a borderlines. They are dreaming of this point, of course, but they didn't realize it yet. No borderlines, free trade between the countries, no more duties or customs or taxes imposed on the freely flow of goods and services from one country to the other. So all these ideas is still now working it with agreements between countries. We'll see today some agreements in between some countries, like the GATT, General Agreement for Tariffs and Trades, and we will see also the NAFTA, NAFTA, North America Free Trade, and we'll see also about some the OPEC and the European Union in Europe. We'll see some of those entities which come into becomes like a cartel. Cartel means more than one country, more than one country all comes together in a kind like a union, and there will be like they harmonize all the laws regarding the trade in between them to become like almost one country. See now like this, first of all, we want some identifications, like we'll talk about what is the meaning of the foreign trade. What do we mean by the foreign trade? Buying and selling of goods and services. Look, we always, when we talk about the goods and services. We never talk alone about goods without leaving the services. We talk about both of them between parties from different countries. So this is what do we mean by buying and selling of goods and services. So the foreign trade is buying and selling, but not locally. It's internationally in between two countries from different countries, two different countries. So we have to pass the borderline, we have to pass oceans, we have to pass seas, we have to pass, okay, those is the borderline, or we don't pass this also. There are borderlines between countries, which is like Chad and Niger and Nigeria. Those, there is no, as example, there is no any natural separation between them, it's only lands. So all the countries of the world, that's what I'm saying now, the natural flow of goods and services from one country to the other. This is the foreign trade in this time of the where the globalization plays a big role. Okay, foreign presence also, placing representatives of a business in foreign. So this is the representatives of the company in the host company, we call them foreign presence. What about the foreign investments? Conducting operations in foreign markets. That's what's the meaning of it. So when I say foreign investment, that means I'm conducting operations in other countries and in foreign markets. Perfect. Usually the international sale of goods involves a number of parties. And this is what I want to read it for you because it's a very important sentence. Let us read it together and see what does it mean. Usually the international okay, let's get this down here. Let's get this part down here and go over to this part. Usually the international sale of goods involves a number of parties and consists of several distinct though related contracts. Yeah, because in the business, international business, you are making some operations which is not in your own country, it's between two countries. So you have to expect there are more contracts in such a case. In addition to the basic agreement for the sale of the goods, the parties normally arrange for the transportation of goods for their insurance during shipment. That's fine. And frequently for the financing of the transaction. Carriers insures banks of finances, houses may be involved as well as the buyer and the seller. That's fine. Since exports transactions require special expertise, the parties commonly appoint specialist export houses for freight forwards as agents to make the arrangement for shipment, insurance, and financing. Perfect. That's very nice. So this was the first part, or the first thing which we talk about today is about the international sales of goods and services, because it means export and import. The international work means import and export, import and export. One country exporting and the other country is importing what the other exports. So that's what we say here. The parties commonly appoint specialist export houses or freight forwarders as agents to make arrangement for shipment, insurance, and financing. So there must be also a mediator companies that are working to harmonize the work between the exporter and the importer. We will have more companies like the houses, export houses or freight forwarders, and they will play a role in between the exporter and the importer. Okay, this was the first point. Let us go to the second point today. What is the proper law of the contract? The proper law of the contract is the law of the country or jurisdiction by which the term of a contract or disputes under it are to be interpreted and decided. So which country we are working now in the, almost this would be by the home country, by the host country. So proper law of the contract in cases of disputes, where we will go. I am from a country as exporter and you are from another country as importer. In a case of there is dispute between us about some articles in the contract or some terms in the contract, where we will go, where both will go. We'll go to your court in the host country, or we'll go to my court in the mother country. Where we will go? Okay. Proper law of the contracts, the law of the country or jurisdiction by which the terms of a contract or disputes under it are to be interpreted and decided. The conflict, in case of a conflict, what will happen too in the case of the conflict? Conflict of law or private international law. The principal law, let us enlarge it so that everybody can see it clear. Yeah. So the conflict of law or private international law, the principles of law that apply to determine which country's laws governs a dispute involving private parties. And actually this point also is a kind of explanation for the previous point, because this is in the case of the conflict where we are going to go, where we will go to the host country, the law of the host country, to the courts of the host country, or we will go to the host of the, or to the law of the mother country, the investor, the one who moved into the host. Where we will go in that case? There must be documentations when we come to talk about the foreign trade. For the foreign trade, there are documentations that are work. This is kind of work that we will do to make our contract, So we have this to execute the contract. There must be, and to be forcible for both the parties, there must be documentations. What are those documentations? An export sale normally requires at least 4 documents. In the export sales, there must be 4 documents. The contract of sale, there must be there. The bill of lading, and the insurance policy or certificate of insurance policy, and the invoice for, okay. Those are 4 things. Again, I would say documentations that are required by law for executing, exporting, or importing procedures. It must be the contract, the bill of lading, the insurance policy, and the invoice. We have 4 documents: the contract, the bill of lading, the insurance policy, and the invoice. I will stop here for a few minutes just to put 2 questions, and we'll go for them now for an answering on the our Google Classroom. So first of all, I will put these questions. We will have these questions here. We mean by foreign trade. So whoever do not have accounts on the D2L, whoever do not have account on the D2L, please go to answer this question. Please answer it on your own chat box. So whoever do not have, if you have a Google Classroom, I will show it to you right away. What do we mean by foreign trade? This is our first question today. And same question, we will take it and go to our own portal on the D2L and set this question. It takes a few minutes to do this. However, I'm working on it. No worries, it's okay. Second question today, we will have it, is about the okay, let's go to Google Classroom now. I didn't use this book, so I don't want it. But my computer is very slow down. I'm not using this now. Okay. Let us move on to the second question today. So we said, what the meaning of foreign trade? The second question is, what are the documents required for, what are the documents required for export? We said we have 4 documents are required for the export. We said we have 4 documents that are required for export. What are those documents which are required for export? So we'll have these 2 questions now. Whoever do not have a D2L, please go into your own. If you don't have a D2L here, please work on your own chat box to answer both these questions. Please work on the chat box to answer those 2 questions. Those are regarding the foreign trade and foreign investment, we said, and the proper law on conflict in cases, and we said the documentation, and here you have the documentation. I just want to go now to my Google Classroom and D2L right now. And to see those two questions, we'll put them there. We'll put these questions there now. So here I will go to my business law. And this will take a few minutes. Sorry about that. We'll go to the activities and we'll go to our own quizzes. Then we'll make the question about international global trade or international. Or international business. And here we'll go for our first two questions. And we'll have here a new question, written response. And the first question is what we had here just now. What do we mean by the foreign trade? What do we mean by the foreign trade? What do you mean by the foreign trade? And here is our first question today. In international business, what do you mean by foreign trade? Then we'll add another new question. New question, also written response. The new question is here. What are the documents required? What are the documents required for exports? This will be our second question today. And here we will go. So we have two questions in the international business topic. We have two questions regarding the international business topic, and we will work on them right now. We will work on them right now. Well, if you don't have a D2L, you can work those two questions on the chat box here. You can send me the answers on the chat box here. You can send me the answers here on the chat box. Thank you. That's if you don't have a D2L. That's in case you don't have D2L. I'll give around 5 minutes here, then I'll move to an export. We'll move to an export within 5 minutes from here. You have 5 minutes, then we will move into an export. Okay, I hope that we all done for these questions. Now we will move forward to another point. We'll move forward for another point now. So we talk about the documentations here, and we said those documentations are essential for the international business trade, the contract, the bill of lading, the insurance policy, and the invoice. Cool. For the shipments and the insurance documentations which are needed, we have here as example, we have the buyer picks up the goods from the seller's factory's gate. Let's say like X works, mean the buyer will pick up the goods from the seller's factory's gate. By the way, it's shown up here. This is EXW. So EXW, I will take, this is the seller or the producer or whatever. I will pick as a buyer the goods and services from here. That's what they call it, EXW. Okay, X work. FOB, free on board. Free on board means the seller delivers the goods onto the buyer's carrier. So the seller in that case will deliver the goods to the buyer, the goods onto the buyer's carrier. If the carrier must load the freight, then the FCA, free to carrier, and FAS, free alongside ship, acronym applies, where the seller's duty is, look at this, the seller duty is, respectively, to deliver to the first carrier, for example, where the goods are collected by the carrier and loaded into a container for shipments to a cargo terminal, and to deliver to a specified pier per house at the port of shipment. So this is the meaning of it. So let's go in the second, this slide show us the FOB. The FOB show you here, free on board. So the seller is responsible to upload or put the goods or the containers of the goods on the ship of the carrier or in the carrier. Okay, this is his responsibility till here, till this point only. Still, it's in his own country. So he's just responsible to put or set the goods up the ships in his country or in his own port of export. So this is his job till the moment. Now, let's see the previous page. Again, free on board, the seller delivers the goods onto the buyer's carrier. That's what we did now. Here, he delivered it to the goods carrier or the purchaser on the purchaser's carriers. Here is the carrier which will go to the purchaser country. So he just delivered it here. He's responsible. This is about the seller. The seller will deliver it here on board. On board means on board of the ship. Okay. Then if the carrier must load the freight, then the FCA, free to carrier, and the FAS, free alongside ship, acronyms apply, where the seller's duty is respectively to deliver to the first carrier. To deliver to the first, for example, where the goods are collected by the carrier and located into a container for shipment to a cargo terminal, and to deliver it to a specified pier or warehouse at the port of shipments. That's what we have. The CIF means cost, insurance, and freight. Costs, insurance, and freight. Seller must arrange the carrier shipment. So the seller's duty is to arrange the carrier shipment, and the buyer picks up the goods at the port of destination. So let us go now to the CIF. Okay, here the seller responsibility is not only in his export, in his port, no, till it reached to the port of the importer. In the CIF, the seller is responsible seller is responsible about all the goods till it reach to the sea, to the port of the importer. So in that case, he's responsible also to arrange, just to arrange for the contracts, like we see here, CIF cost, insurance, and freight. Seller must arrange the carrier shipment, and the buyer picks up the goods at the port of destination. So he's responsible also about this point, about the carrying, pick up the goods at the port of destination. Okay. What about the DDP? Let us look at the DDP. The DDP is here. So this is now in the warehouse of the importer or the buyer. The DDP till it reach to the importer or the buyer's shop or location or warehouse. Let us see what is the DDP. What do you mean by the DDP? DDP, delivery duty paid. Delivery duty paid. The seller delivers the goods to the buyer's location. So till it comes to me, I am a buyer and you are a seller. I am a buyer in Egypt, you are a seller in India. So when we say the contract is DDP, means that you will carry it even till DDP means you will carry it till you deliver it to me in my warehouse as a buyer, till the door of my warehouse. This is your responsibility as a seller. So the seller delivers the goods to the buyer location and pays all duty along the way. Anything regarding the duties, it's the responsibility of the seller. Okay, so DDP means everything will come to you till your door. You are not responsible as a buyer. You are not responsible anything. As a seller, I'm responsible about everything. Then after that, there will be calculations. You have to pay for all this as a buyer, right? Okay. So I will go back in a quick view. XW means the buyer pick up the goods from the seller's factory gate. Here it is, this EXW. EXW, here is the case of the EXW. Here, the seller just from the door here of his shop, his factory, his warehouses, and this truck, all the costs go on behalf of the buyer. The buyer will pay for all this. The buyer will carry on. Only the seller will deliver in his warehouse. That's it. Then it becomes the responsibility of the buyer for the rest of the process. Okay. FOB means that the seller will deliver the goods on boards of the carrier till the boards. This is in his export port, in the place, in his own, not in the final destination for the buyer, no, it's in his own country. So now if I'm in Egypt and you are in India and we are working free on board, that means I am the producer or the exporter. I have to put the goods onto the ship, on board of the ship. Until this, I'm responsible as a seller. Then it's your responsibility as a seller to take it from my own port into your own port, then complete the process till your warehouses. This we call it FOB. Okay, free on board. Then the third one we said CIF. What is the CIF? The CIF here, along the way, there is contract, insurance, there is some procedures. So the seller will carry all this till your port as a buyer. We said here, CIF, cost, insurance, and freight. Seller must arrange the carrier's shipments, and the buyer picks up the goods at the port of destination. So this is, sometimes they call it in other texts or books, they call it Franco, not Luco. This one is Luco, free on board is Luco. CIF, they call it Franco. Okay, so it's delivered at the seller's shop, at the buyer's shop, the Franco. And the Luco is delivered at the seller's shop. DDP, delivery duty paid. DDP, delivery duty paid, which means that I'm as a exporter or a seller, I'm responsible all the way up till the goods come to your own warehouse as a buyer. So you don't carry on. I will carry on everything till it comes here. After this is calculations, because you have to pay for all this. You have to pay for all this. It's not my responsibility to pay for you all the way up this insurance and this and that, so that the buyer, of course, logically will carry all the responsibilities later on and will pay for this. So we said EXW, FOB, CIF, DDP, and what the meaning of each of them. Then we will go to another question, payment, a key. So we'll go here now for two questions also here. What is the meaning of? What is the meaning of? We'll say those terminologies. We'll go to it back, EXW, FOB, CIF, EXW, FOB, it will be all in capitals, CIF, and DDP, So this question also, we have to spend. If you don't have a Google, you don't have a D2L, then please send your answers on the chat box here. Send your answers on the chat box if you don't have D2L. I believe all are having D2L, so we'll go also to the D2L now and put this question as well. Here we'll go to our third question. What do we mean by these terminologies? And this will be added also to you as a third question today to work on it. So this we had now just 3 questions. We'll move on now for the other questions of our today's lecture. But I'll just give you about 5 minutes to answer this question, and we will be back within 5 minutes. What is the meaning of EXW, FOB, CIF, DDP? What do we mean by those 4 terms? Thank you. Okay, we will move now to the next part after answering these questions, and we will go into another slide now, and we'll know what the meaning of the counter trade, the word counter trade. What does it mean, the word counter trade? Counter trade. And simply, it's just a barter. A barter system means that you change one good for another good. This is the meaning of the counter trade. So instead of, like as example, if as example, I'm just changing now, like bartering, I'm using the barter system to, I produce this cup, and I want you to exchange it with me with this glass, but no monetary units here, just goods in front of goods. So one country will export to another country a certain type of goods, and that country also will export, the other country will export certain type of goods. So A and B are switched with each other. This we call it counter trade. So the simplest counter trade, a seller agrees to accept, instead of money, payment in goods produced by the buyer. Another increasingly common arrangements for a corporation that sells machinery to a firm in a developing country to agree to accept part of this firm's production at the price. So, okay, you take this machine's produce, and I give me part of the production of this machine. I am very satisfied. This is the price. This might sell modern cutting and sewing equipments like that way. And in the same time, you took the sewing machines and you took the cutting machines for the for clothes, for fibers, the fiber, then give it to me back as clothes. When you manufacture it and make it as clothes, I will take the price in clothes. We call this counter trade. Okay. Now, there are some great entities which try to get benefit of the globalization. And like what we said, the free flow of goods and services from one country to the other. After the World War II and after the world come to a kind of reconciliations for all the troubles in between them, and after the, especially in the 50s and the late 50s and the start of the 60s, started to see some organizations like the World Trade Organization, like the United Nations, and those countries tried to put the peace for the whole world. Then the extension of the ideas went also further into, why don't we try to get the whole world like one country? Is it still a dream to do this? And the whole world is working on it, because you have hundreds of countries with different flags and with different cultures and with different ethnics. So this also impose kind of difficulty on becoming united, on becoming the idea of becoming united for the whole world. But still there is a hope. However, for the moment, yeah, some countries which are very commonly in some characteristics, they can go on a cartel, like the European Union as example. The European Union is the same, which went for a cartel or alienation between those countries. You can check out now on the websites, the European Union. And though there are problems facing the European Union, but still the benefits are more than the costs. And still the advantages are more than the disadvantages for the whole European Union. You hear now about the euro, which is the currency, a united currency or common currency for these countries. And you hear the same thing now in NAFTA. You hear about NAFTA. You hear about the GATT and the WTO. All this we will talk about just now. So as example, the GATT was founded in its inceptions in 1948. The GATT, like I said, General Agreement for Tariffs and Trades, which makes it try to find a way to easitate the flow of goods and services from one country to the other. Contained a mechanism for the resolution of disputes between states that are parties to the agreement. The mechanism was revised and strengthened when the World Trade Organization was created in 1995. How about NAFTA? What is NAFTA? NAFTA is North America Free Trade area. So this is now offers 3 disputes resolution procedures depending upon the type of the dispute operated by the NAFTA secretariats. Okay. So we have the World Trade Organization, we have NAFTA, we have GATT, we have the European Union, we have the OPEC in the oil, the OPEC in the oil. All those are associations or bodies came into existence by members or card members from many countries join it, and the members are still increasing. Now the GATT, the GATT, the members of the GATT, even yearly they are increasing to get benefit of the advantages of the free trade between these countries and trying to facilitate the flow of goods and services by harmonizing the duties and duties between these countries. We'll come now to the electronic commerce, the e-commerce. And what do we mean by the electronic commerce? Electronic commerce, the use of computer from itself, e-commerce. E-commerce, this is the abbreviation. It is what? It is the use of the computer's networks to facilitate commercial activities, including the production, distribution, sale, and delivery of goods and services. So we are leaving this now. You ask for your food with Amazon. The order of your food will come to you at home. The delivery. You ask for your food with your cell phone, the food comes to you at home. It's delivery. Amazon, you use it for your own purchases from the internet. Anything you need, you buy through the Amazon. You see the stuff number and whatever, then you go through it and buy it. It's a revolution, the whole world now, because like when I was young, like 20 years old or something, if I want to buy anything, I have to go down and spend hours to come back home, and all this is wasted time, and time is money. So now this is the life, the electronic commerce, also the trade between the seller and buyer, especially in the global sales or the international trade, like what we talk about. Now you don't have to go for buying and selling. You don't have to go on buying and selling, like the invoice or the purchase order will take weeks to reach to the other destination. No, everything is done within few minutes. Everything is done within few minutes. So like, because the electronic commerce makes it very easy for the facilitate of and facilitate also the flow of goods and services from one country to the other country. So electronic commerce, the use of computers, networks to facilitate commercial activities, including the production, distribution, sale, and delivery of goods and services. So this is the electronic commerce. How about the internet? It's having the big role in this. Actually, without internet, we cannot imagine our life. The interconnected logical networks that link computers worldwide. It's easy. Now, if you want to talk to India, you can talk to India in any moment. In any time, you can talk to India. If you want to talk to any place in the world, if you want to make sure how's your family anywhere, you will make sure by using the social medias, communications, and it's very easy now. The life became very easy, and at the same time, this facilitate and make it easy to help the trade to grow. Intranet. So we have internet and we have intranet. So what is the intranet? Closed system linking specific users internal only to a company. So in San Michael Hospital, as example, there is intranet, which is inside the hospital. If you say in a big exhibition, they have extranet, which is only working within them inside this place. The intra is local or internal, while the internet, not the intranet, internet is globally used, so it's worldwide. But the intranet is local or inside. Closed system linking specific users internal to a company or group, commonly used for data exchange within the same, maybe for privacy reasons or whatever, but it's used for linking within, inside a place. Okay, e-commerce. Let's go back. E-commerce has changed the business world in three key areas. So the e-commerce changed the world in three key areas: operation business practices, cashless society. Now you are treating with the credit cards and the Visa. So this is our cashless society because you don't use money anymore. You use the Visa for your transactions. Surrounding business environment also had been changed because of the e-commerce or electronic commerce or the e-business. So look at this as example. Now you will find electronic retailing or e-tailing, the supply of tangible or electronic goods or services over the internet. It is the selling. So when you sell over the internet, this we call it electronic retailing. We call it electronic retailing over the internet. Supply of tangible goods involves a conventional modes of delivery. Electronic goods are downloaded directly to the customer's computer. And all of you know this, and we all practice this. Electronic transfer of funds, and this is another point. Now there is electronic transfers of funds. Payment made through electronic intangible media such as telephone or internet rather than by cash or check. Payment may take the form of credit card charges, debits of banks, accounts, or even e-cash, often through the business websites. So this is another point, the electronic transfer of funds. For those all now based on the e-commerce and the appear or the emerge or the pop-up of the internet in the whole world. Okay, e-cash, an online payment system. The e-cash is an online payment system that enables the anonymous transfer of money over the internet. So you can use the e-cash, and that's what we're doing. Payment card networks. This is an electronic payment system used to accept, transmit, or process transactions made by payment card to transfer funds or information among issuers, users, and merchants. We will go now to the surrounding business environment. And this is one of the things we said the appearance and the pop-up of the commerce and the e-commerce changed in three aspects: in the cashless and the surrounding business and the transactions. So we'll talk now about surrounding business environment. The business environment is filled with new industries. Examples include internet service provider, network infrastructures, support and outsourcing, including data management and security, payment facilitators described above, and countless new online products and services. So this is the surrounding business environment, including all this. The global nature of the internet offer business access to customers and supplies from around the world. So the natural global business, it can make you as example, if someone want to present to attend an auction in somewhere in the world, he can attend this auction now. There's no problems for him to attend it anywhere in the world. If you want to see like a bid, international bid, about if you are a developer as example here in Canada, and you would see a worldwide international bids in any place in the world. Now in Egypt is doing some projects in Africa, and China is doing projects all over the world. This cannot be known with other way except the internet. So the internet will help that you work globally. Your work will be globally. So if you will go as example for constructions, so you will know all those people who are trading in old or scrap cars or whatever, they can know from the internet and compare the prices between these companies and these companies. You on like I say on individual scale, if you want to go to check for a very low price tickets, you go for some sites like Expedia or Travel One or whatever, then you work on it till you get the cheapest ticket or the cheapest fare. So those all are the ideas regarding the internet and the use and the surrounding business environment which we live nowadays. The impacts of e-commerce on the law. Okay, now we say that the e-commerce is something new. It's something new for the whole world. That's right. And the e-commerce, what we said, electronic commerce, or what is the main factor of the electronic commerce? It is the internet, the pop-up of the internet everywhere in the world. So this, does it have any effect on the rules of business law in particular, and in the rule of the law in general? Does it affect or no? That's what we want to know. Traditional legal principles involving contracts, torts, intellectual property, and international law are adapting to meet commerce challenges. So now the e-commerce is having more challenges than the traditional commerce. The difference between two operations, one is done traditionally in the classical way, and one is done based on the e-commerce. The difference, the gap is not that easy. There are some variables which are emerge with the e-commerce was not there before when we use the traditional or classical way for commerce. Privacy and consumer protection laws are stretching to cover online risk. Yes, one of the points which is very difficult in the e-commerce is the risk of the privacy, losing the privacy. And for that reason, they are protecting it whatever they can from hacking and piracy. There are some laws which are there to encourage the transactions, the safe transactions, and to find out and help you to detect the spams and whatever. So courts, legislators, and the international community are creating new law in the forms of case decisions, legislations, and international treaties. Based on some cases which are there, there must be new norms to adopt the new tendencies and the new technology, which is now very rapidly changed in the whole world, the revolution of the information systems, and that which affect the law and work with the law, because laws has been set long time ago when the commerce was just classical way. But now with the speed which is happening and the internet and the use of internet globally, that of course makes me try to custom the traditional laws which we work on to adapt to the use of the new e-commerce, and to also remedy the cases or the problems which happen due to the risk of the privacy. That is, to some extent, is one of the points which impact the e-commerce. So we see here on the e-commerce and the law, we have the contract law. Electronic commerce, like any other form of commerce, is principally about making contracts. Okay. Courts and legislatures have adapted traditional contracts law principles to the e-commerce environment. So we took the traditional one and we put it for the e-commerce. Web wrap agreements. A website's documents setting out contractual terms, the acceptance of which is indicated by clicking on the appropriate. So when you click, like, you know, this is including your acceptance. As example, you see for each site, they say terms of privacy and policy, terms of privacy and policy. By pressing click, that means that you accepted the terms of privacies and policies. So this is the meaning of rep agreement. You see it always in every site. They say by clicking here or by pressing enter, that means that you accept it, or click here to accept the privacy before we move forward. And so this we call it web wrap agreements. A website document setting out contractual terms, the acceptance of which is indicated by clicking on the inappropriation. Click wrap agreements requires the buyer to open the term page before clicking acceptance of them. And this is all. We know how to use it and we know how it is used. Shall see you in the next lecture. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Bye bye. Have a good day, everyone.